This is our spoiler-filled, spoiler alert, going to shoot up across the screen here, our review of Thor, Love and Thunder.
Yeah, so if you haven't watched it, go watch our spoiler-free one and go watch it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth the watch. It's hysterical. It's an awesome family ride. It's just another fun Marvel-ish movie. So give it a look. Okay.
Where to begin?
I don't know. Let's deep dive here and let's see if our ratings and recommendations change after that.
Okay.
So the one thing that I did want to say before anything else, soundtrack, loved it.
Yeah, it was damn cool. Like,
yeah, and you can see Taika Waititi is not only like a classic rock fan, because if I think back to Ragnarok, he had a lot of things from Van Halen and all of that in the movie, and I just thought it was apt at the time, but clearly he's a rock fan, because this one is, and maybe one step further, he's clearly a Guns N' Roses rock fan, because like that whole movie is basically just a Guns N' Roses soundtrack.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. I'm a huge Guns N' Roses fan, so it did it for me.
Yeah, and it just suited the tone of the film so well.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. And it was that, you had mentioned it in the spoiler-free video, it was well-paced, they got to the point quickly, and I just felt, if I had to sum it up, it was very like a rock and roll movie. It was just constantly going, charged with energy, just like rock and roll. So
yeah,
can't complain about the soundtrack. It complemented it, man.
For sure. No, I agree with you there. Like, I don't know if we want to get into this quick, but we mentioned in our spoiler-free video, like, we think some of the comedy beats were like too overboard. And you mentioned off camera. I don't know if you want to dive into that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was some good comedy, and there was some laugh out loud comedy, like the fucking goats screaming. Yeah. And I always, it was almost like they were perfectly timed each time. Like something happens, and then out of nowhere comes this death scream, this hysterical bellow from those goats.
Do you know, I know you might not know this, but do you know that it was based off a meme of Taylor Swift?
No. So
Taylor Swift has a song, I'll try my best to find it, we can put in this video, but I can't remember the song, but she sings, and then someone found a way to put a goat in to like match her tone in the exact parts. So apparently Taika Waititi, I can never say his name.
Taika Waititi
took it and like just like obliterated like the whole thing. That's what I've heard. I'm not sure it is.
Well, if it is true, I think it's awesome, because the goats, great comedy. But then at the other moments, like, I mean, if we have to go back, the Guardians of the Galaxy, I mean, the way that they've been positioned in the Marvel Universe is for a bunch of guys that have limited powers and or no powers, they're pretty badass in some of the things that they got involved with, going up against like Ronan and Ego and all of that stuff. I just felt like when Endgame was there and Thor leaves with them, it was going to be he was a different Thor. He was a more mature Thor, a little bit dark and broody after going through everything. And from like instant one, when we see him, and again, maybe, I don't know if it was intentional or not. I don't know if there was, I don't know if it was exaggerated because it was from Korg's storytelling point of view, but just the way that Thor was portrayed was very like untouchable god floating on air, and to the point of just slapstick, like that part where he's in the splits, two cars come at him and he's holding them apart in the splits, almost like that Van Damme commercial, just sitting there smiling and grinning.
Yeah.
And like just nothing could touch him, and the way they position it is the Guardians, they're under fire, they're in hell, they're in war, they're angry at Thor because he's brought them there, and in like an instant he just comes down and he just like wins the battle in a few seconds because, well, he's Thor. It was a bit incongruous, and especially when you see Chris Pratt as Star-Lord, like there's a part where Thor starts monologuing.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt mouthing along to the monologue, but he's doing it almost like, I said to Mark earlier, you could almost put animated little hearts over his eyes, like looking and staring at Thor lovingly as he mouths it, when I felt it should have been more him sarcastically going.
Yeah. Because even when, what movie is it when like he chose to go with him, and then there was that like, it's my ship. No,
that was Endgame.
Yes, it is your ship. And already Chris Pratt was like, you jerk. Like,
yeah, so I'm going to be stuck in space with you kind of thing.
And then like we said, like when he's leaving, Star-Lord's like, okay, go, you can go now.
Thor's on this whole sort of, you're going to miss me. And, it's been so great. And Chris Pratt is like, please just go. Like,
yeah, so like you said, when he's like, what's the name, miming the monologue, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, Star-Lord would have been ripping from the get-go any chance behind his back because Thor is a god. Like, he would have been like,
agreed,
moron. Like,
100%.
So
agreed.
I agree with you there. And like, one other thing I want to bring up, I know, but like, to me, the whole angle of them turning Asgard into like a theme park, I just was like, meh. I just didn't buy it. Like, I understand that they wanted to bring back the little fake play, and also that fake play went on for way too long. I was like, okay, we get the point now.
But it was
Damon, okay, it's funny.
The
but
cameos there were hysterical.
Yeah.
Like Miss McCarthy and all that. It was like brilliantly funny cameos, but I agree. It was just like, okay. Yeah. The first time we saw it in Ragnarok, it was funny.
Yeah.
Have it, show the cameos, but get to the point and move past it kind of thing. I'm with you, totally.
Yeah, so like...
And not only that, dude, they're as Guardians. These guys are like, their whole culture was war-based, like die in battle and go to Valhalla. Mm-hmm. Now they're all just...
Vikings. Like
exactly, and they're now running a theme park merrily without any like hesitation and or gripe. It's like, even show us that they're frustrated with this new life that they've been thrust in, if you're going to do that, but don't,
because even Valkyrie says she's got bored of this or whatever, she wants to go to battle, but you never feel in the beginning she's doing the whole like signing with the politicians thing, and she's all like, she would be against that from the start just by nature of character.
Agreed.
So it didn't feel like, it felt like they put that in there for the later Jane Foster finding the hammer like Mjolnir, but I don't know, it just I don't know. I didn't buy it.
I agree. I'm with you. That part, that didn't resonate with me. What I did like, and maybe it was a bit cheesy or something, but I did think it was kind of cool at the same time. And for me, it didn't feel out of place or forced. And maybe some people disagree, but right at the end, when Thor, he takes like the enchantment and he literally enchants every single one of those kids, whatever they've picked up and whatever, he enchants everything and gives them the power of Thor.
Yeah.
I thought that was like a brilliant use of the Odin force to empower all of them and create an army out of just kids.
Yeah,
you know, where was cool.
Where for me it was believable to a degree. Like, and again, I think sometimes in films you can't be overcritical and freaking really scrutinize everything. You got to like let a moment happen. You know, because it's cool, but. Because if you go back, and I really liked how they did this, is because at first I was like, why are we going back to Thor and Jane when they were happy? I was like, and then you see him indirectly crafting that rune.
Correct.
For
asking the hammer to just
protect her.
Yeah, agreed.
So to me, just showing that kind of power, and then it's almost a follow through when he gives the Odin Force to the kids and stuff. And to me, the one thing they could have maybe done a little bit, I know I'm really nitpicking now, but it's such a hard driving thing. Again, we're talking about the growing up thing where Odin is like, you're the god of thunder, not a god of a hammer.
Yes.
And it's like driving in. You don't actually need your hammer, dude. Like,
correct. The power, you are the power kind of thing. It flows through you.
And it just feels like, I did find the comedy of Stormbreaker being jealous, like a jealous lover. I was like, okay, cool. That's pretty funny.
What I didn't like was that yes, okay, so Gore gets the hammer, but it just creates King Bifrost, a rainbow bridge. It just emits its power because he sticks it there and these things hold it. No, for me, it needs to be it needs to be intertwined with Thor. It can't do that unless Thor is the one who's willed it or whatever to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yes, okay, he gets the hammer. Fine. It should have been, for me, it should have been different. But I suppose they wouldn't have had a story there. But yeah, it just felt a bit off that because he suddenly got Stormbreaker, he could just use it and create that. It's like, nah, for me, it's almost like it kind of has to come from Thor.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Maybe
Before I forget this, I also want to say this, like, and again, it might just be me, but I'm going all the way back to Guardians. When when Star-Lord realizes, like Ego the planet, and he realizes he's got like older blood in him and all that, and there's that one thing where he's trying to turn him, and then like I might be remembering it a bit off, but like Star-Lord looks up and his eyes go black, and he's like, I see eternity. And for me, that moment, I can't explain to you. I don't know if it's the music and the camera angles, but it was very convincing of like someone that has literally just seen eternity and what that can do to a person. When Gore and them go to eternity, I was like, it looked like just a cheesy like 2D. I felt like I was in what's the Truman Show? Like, like I was like, I don't know, man. Eternity like could have just been so much more of like.
I agree with you.
What the like.
Yeah. I agree with you. So
it was underwhelming.
People that do or don't know the comics, eternity is the living embodiment of our reality and universe, and his twin sister is infinity, and that's who, when he brings back the child, it's his sister form, his female form that inhabits the child, and they actually say she's got the child born of infinity.
That makes so much more sense.
That's
I
why.
To ask you about something
and that's
later.
why she was the female version of it. So there's eternity and infinity.
I was like, how and why does she have powers? Because Gore didn't have power. Yeah. Okay, so that makes...
Yeah, that's why. Because it was literally him imparting all his female half, his twin sister, whatever you want to call it, infinity. It embodies her or... passes on some of her power, whatever it is. And that's why you see that reflection in the water. It's not eternity. It's the sister form, infinity. And I love that. I thought that is amazing. But at the same time, if you've read any of the Infinity comics, the Infinity Gauntlet, eternity is not to be messed with. And he doesn't grant wishes just like that or whatever. No, not at all. In fact, like whoever gets the gauntlet, if you wield the gauntlet for long enough, you kill eternity and infinity. You become, you usurp them as the living embodiment of the universe that you're in, and they actually just fade away. So there's a little bit more to it that they didn't really. It was nice that they were there, and in that one temple you get flashes of the living tribunal's head, some celestial heads and all that. Cool, but give eternity a little bit more oomph and presence and everything to who and what he is. He's powerful. He's second to the living tribunal, for God's sake.
That is something else I want to, and maybe I missed something. Happy for you to like be like, no, Mark. But like when they have that, like, I can't remember the exact scene now when they're like, okay, we're in trouble now. We need to figure out what to do about Gore. And it's like, well, let's go to I can't say it now.
Omnipotent City. Yeah.
And just go visit all the gods casually and sneak in there. It's like, wait, you could have done it for Endgame. You could have done it for... If it was so easy just to randomly, like, let's go.
Let's just go and get the gods.
Let's go hang out with every single god from, like, and I was like, okay, fair enough, whatever. And then Zeus, he to me just shouldn't have been comic relief. Like, it's Zeus for crying out loud. Like, and the way he, like, lifted his skirt or whatever. I'm like... It's hilarious that Russell Crowe would like
sure,
but no, and I understand that if he stayed dead, because we're talking about spoilers now, fair enough, take the piss out of him. But now that he was like, okay, they need to fear gods again, Hercules my son, and Hercules looks like he does in the comics from the little bit I've seen, and that's okay. But like the fact that he's still alive and he's such a moron, like no, I didn't buy it.
And for me it's like, this is a weapon that can kill a god butcher and or other gods. You get it straight to the chest, but you survive. Didn't quite work for me. I agree with you. He shouldn't have been comic relief. At the same time, I can kind of conceive of the gods aren't what they used to be because of how...
laziness and just...
Yeah, and just people's beliefs have shifted and changed. And, there's a... Neil Gaiman touches on it a lot, that the gods are only as powerful as the belief that we give them, the power we give them through belief. So maybe go at that angle and kind of explain it a little bit. And if you want to, almost instead of comic relief, have Zeus explain that to Thor, to say, we're not as strong as we used to be. So this is the only sanctuary we have. If he comes here, we'll fight and defend ourselves to the death. But we're not going to go out and hunt him, and we're not going to go out and find him. That would have been That was my
And
take.
again, that is more plausible. But then I look at it and I'm like, okay, so now you're angry with the heroes because they are the new gods, fair enough, or whatever. So I'm going to send my badass son Hercules. It's like, well, why don't you send your badass son Hercules to fight Gaul and eliminate the threat? I'm like,
yeah, 100%.
I'm like,
And not only that, dude, going back to what you said earlier, why did they have to sneak in? Thor's a god. Why does he have to sneak in to the city and go in disguise? And at least him and Valkyrie should just...
And how would it ever be so easy?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
You're protecting every single god in the universe.
Correct,
like,
100%.
let's just sneak
And just
in.
by the very virtue that they can just go there, like you said, it's supposed to be a citadel to protect the gods. They can go there. Why then, after they're there, do they have to be in disguise?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was almost like we're setting up that scene so that so that Zeus could flick off the outfit he was in and expose.
What I can say is what did surprise me is I thought when I saw that in the trailer, I thought it was almost going to be a thing where Thor didn't realize it and Gore followed him there and he just butchered a whole bunch of gods. Like almost gods we don't care about as collateral damage. I thought that was how they were going to play it. I was like, okay, fair enough. Because at first I'm like, why is he after, Thor? And then obviously the Bifrost. I was like, okay, fair enough. That's how you... But also it's like, I don't know. Just the Gore's like, got the sword and now I've got the axe. And it's like walking. It's like, well, what else do you need? Dude, like, I don't know. Like that also like,
yeah. No, I'm with you. So it's not without its flaws and loopholes.
Yeah, shame we've just bashed the hell out of it. But
if I have to give some of the pros, in retrospect, as we've been unpacking it, in our initial thing, we thought like the way they positioned Thor, not great, not good. Actually, looking at the journey he goes through, he comes to realize that he truly does love Jane, and she's the only one for him, and vice versa. That there was moments, especially in the hospital, got me like in the feels kind of thing. And the fact that she does step up as a hero and ultimate sacrifice to save the day, like proper, like worthy of the hammer that she was wielding.
No, her beat was awesome, dude. I really liked the whole, I know it seems cliche of her being sick and stuff, but it worked. It worked for the scientist in her to neglect her health. And
100%. And then the ending where she makes it to Valhalla, I was like, that's cool. And Heimdall's there. So I was like, oh, that's amazing. I like that.
Yeah.
Thor's full circle. I like that he's having to be a single parent. Like, I thought that was an interesting angle. Yeah. And I don't have an issue with that. I actually think it's quite cool. And I'd like to see a bit more of that, how this infinity and love and thunder, how that plays out. I thought that was quite cool. We've spoken about in the other video, just Christian Bale's Gore portrayal. Yeah. Out of this world. Just totally took me by surprise.
Yeah. It just shows that he is a good actor. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Yeah.
No, 100%, dude.
Because, I mean, he even made a joke. I think someone like made a joke and he had no like clue what the MCU was, which just proves he probably didn't, I don't know, he didn't take the comic. He just took, like, give me the character. He's like, okay, got you. This is what you need. I
get it. This guy's tormented. He's tortured in this way. And I can portray that. And he does. Dude, those scenes where he plays that blind faith guy perfectly. He plays the person who's lost his faith brilliantly. That we said about in the other video, that scene when he's in the cage with those kids. Yeah. Dude, I haven't been that eerie, freaked out since.
Yeah, I was like, is he going to eat one of the kids? Like that, you just get that feeling. Yeah. Like,
and I haven't been on since watching the original It movie as a kid. That just the way the visual, the way he portrayed it, it was excellent. It was superb. And then his redemption right at the end, gets his daughter back and just, dude, in the feels. I was like proper like. Yeah, and in both parts, because Thor just is like, this is not important. Do what you're going to do. I'm going to spend the last seconds I have with the person I love. And Christian Bale makes a decision, similar one, to spend his last seconds with this reincarnation of the girl, this daughter.
And I thought that was done really cool. Like, and also, so again, that's a perfect example. Like Chris Hemsworth can be grown up. He can be like, he's like, you just
Agreed.
This doesn't matter. Like,
yeah.
And I was like, what? More of this, you know, like, and I know, dude, if you've watched the podcast, you'll know I'm like, everything's dark and broody and emo with me, but like, I don't know, it felt like it could have, you know, and that's why I think I like Christian Bale so much and stuff. But yeah, again, I know I'm drilling it really hard, and like the comedy was really funny, and also, what's his name? Korg is always on point. He's always hilarious. Like,
yeah, agreed.
So I just think they had enough comedy, and so they didn't really have to drive at that next like level further. So
yeah, I would agree with you 100%. And again, if I had to go and give it my however many Mjolnirs out of 5, Mjolnir Stormbreakers, maybe I'd give it 4 Mjolnirs and half a Stormbreaker or something. I'm on 4.5 out of 5
I'm still
for me.
Same, yeah.
So again, guys, good film. It rocks. It's a rock and roll roller coaster ride. It does have all the elements. It's got the drama. It's got the comedy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a small thing, but in the beginning, it's that homage to the Thunderstrike version of him, that whole like rock and roll outfit. So that was quite cool. I know it's a small thing, but
counts, man. Totally counts.